On a night that started off about being James Harden returned back to Houston, the young Rockets stole the show by beating the Philadelphia 76ers in a close game that went into double overtime, 132 to 123. This unlikely victory came on the back of great play by great young players. I'm going to go over 5 reasons why the Rockets won this game. Reason number 1 why we won: Kevin Porter's defense on James Harden. Now, this isn't James Harden from the Rockets years where he's dropping 40-point triple-doubles, 50-point triple-doubles. This is James Harden in Philly. This is James Harden coming off an injury. But regardless of what it is or what type of James Harden it is, Kevin Porter did a damn good job guarding him. He was in his space. He was using his length. He was just crowding everything James Harden trying to do. Now, I want you guys to check out my favorite play from KPJ in the game. Game on the line, 108, 10 seconds left. This is for all the marbles. You get Embiid trying to set a screen on KPJ. KPJ fights over that screen because he wants this matchup. And this reminds me of Paul George, one of my favorite defenders in the NBA. Paul George will not let you screen him, especially when the game's on the line. Guys like that, Chris Paul is like that. There's a lot of great defenders in the NBA that when those screens come, they just have a knack of getting around them and staying on their assignment and still are able to play great defense. And if you get a guy in Kevin Porter Jr. who's willing to take on these assignments, then it's definitely something special, because if he can do this, block Harden's shot on a step back, then he can play anywhere on the court, whether it's on ball, off ball, whether it's on defense as the primary defender or as an off guard defender. He had a great defensive game, and this was just one play to show that. Reason number 2, Alperen Sengun's defense on Embiid. Now, Alp gets a lot of slack for being a quote-unquote bad defender. Now, if you know enough basketball, you know that a lot of the issues that he has deal with the poor team defense, the poor perimeter defense, and his over-fouling. So today we got to see an example of a matchup that he was better suited to guard than Bruno, Fernando, or Usman Garuba. When it comes down to Alp, it's all about matchups. There are certain matchups he can't play, especially teams that like to play a lot of dribble handoffs and come off screens and shoot. But if it's a team that likes to play inside, he's the guy that you need, because for a kid, he's fairly strong. Now in this game, he was guarding Embiid in that pick and roll, and this is probably some of the best pick and roll defense that I've seen Alp play, because he was able to keep James Harden and Embiid in front of him for most of the game and stay vertical. And one of the most important things that I saw for him was to be able to play meaningful minutes. The fact that Coach Silas trusted him enough to be able to put him into the game with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter with 5 fouls, and he was able to last till about the start of the second overtime, is to me something that is a big step for him and will allow the coaching staff to trust him going forward, and for himself to know that he can play without fouling and he can play an MVP level player without fouling. And this is just another example of just how great Alp can be. This guy can be on the floor for crucial situations because he has IQ, he anticipates, and he can guess where guys are going to be. Sometimes just having raw athleticism isn't all it takes to be a good basketball player. And I think he was able to do that. Here's my favorite play from Alp in this win over Philly. So you get a pick and roll here from James Harden and Embiid, and Alp's job is to guard both Embiid and James Harden while Kevin Porter tries to fight around the screen. Now this is no small task, because this is probably the deadliest pick and roll combo in the entire NBA. Alp is supposed to keep James honest on the drive and also at the same time prevent Embiid from getting straight to the basket with a dunk while KPJ tries to fight over. I want you to peep how Alp is able to do this, stay in front of James. At the same time, when he sees the ball gets passed off, he's able to switch and pivot his hips, change direction, and stay vertical to prevent Embiid from the layup. So that is just one of the skills that he has that a lot of people don't notice. His pick and roll defense is really not terrible, and a lot of times the things that we see are his help defense not being. Reason number 3, Jalen's playmaking. Jalen did 7 assists in this game, and he did it in a variety of ways. He was creating by penetrating the defense. He was creating the pick and rolls. He was swinging the ball around to open shooters. When he can do this, when he can really become a creator and offensive generator for others, that's when you start talking about that next level of star. We don't want Jalen to just be a scorer, because to me, that'll be limiting his ceiling. Him being a scorer is expected. It's cool to get 30 points, but can you generate offense for other guys on your team? Because when you can do that, then you can be a guy that can be an offensive hub With his skill set of being able to drive, being able to shoot, and his developing handle, if he can keep working on this aspect of his game, the playmaking, man, he's going to be a hard cover for the league. But Jalen is taking strides, and he's had games of 9 assists, 7 assists. He's up to 4 assists and averaging on the season. And I think maybe when it's all said and done, if he can crack 5, then that's really, really doing something. But the playmaking was there. One of the most exciting things I saw with the playmaking too was the fact that he was able to play make for Kevin Porter Jr. as well, which I really think gets to show KPJ's impact as an off-ball player. A lot of times the grief he gets for playing on ball, people forget that he's one of the best catch and shoot three-point shooters in the NBA, and he's a pretty good player when he cuts. So I think Jalen developing as a ball handler really opens up a different aspect and dynamic on the team for him. Another great part about Jalen's ball handling is his chemistry with Alperen Sengun. They have chemistry. Some of the passes he was making in the pick and roll, some of the dish passes, the shovel passes, the little pocket passes he was making to Sengun, it's something that I don't see any other guard on the team able to do with him. And I wish and I hope that they continue to explore that, because I feel like that duo can be something special. I made a video called Alperen Sengun will make Jalen Green a star because of his screening. I think that Jalen can make Alperen Sengun a star because of his passing. But check out my favorite play featuring Jalen Green's passing ability. Check this play out. Look at Sengun and look at Jalen. They're opposite sides of the court, but look at how Sengun hurries to get to that corner, because he knows when he has his guard on an empty corner, that's money. That's cash money. Look at all that space that Jalen has to deal with. And look at look at the matchup he has. That's against Montrezl Harrell. Beats him around the corner. Now, this is what's exciting. When you can draw 5 guys in the paint, you're doing something right. And you're able to generate shots for your teammates. I mean, look at this. You got Jabari, you got Garrison and KPJ sitting there. Jalen has the pick of what he wants to pass to. Before, he would have tried to make this layup, but now he's able to pass it out to Kevin Porter Jr., who, if the closeouts are hard, can just pass it out to Jabari or Garrison Mathews. But he's one of the best catch and shoot players in the league, and he's able to make the shot. All generated by Jalen paint touch set up by an Alperen screen on an empty corner. Reason number 4. Taris Energy. Tari Eason is just a ball of energy. As soon as he comes in a game, he's running, he's getting rebounds, he's getting steals, he's creating chaos and havoc for the opposing team. I call him Wing Russ. A lot of people see that as an insult. I don't see that as an insult. Russell Westbrook is a Hall of Famer, and he did that off of just heart and energy. Not the most efficient player, not the most his game isn't the most aesthetic, but what he's going to give you is heart and hustle for 100% of the time, all the time. And I think that in itself is a skill set. Now, Tari does have game. He has game. And for him to be a 3-and-D wing that's slotted to be a 3-and-D wing with the ability to put the ball on the ground, to run in transition, he can shoot the 3 with competency. He has just different aspect of his game. Obviously needs to work on his finishing. Decision making is a big part that he needs to improve on, but otherwise he has all the makings of a prospect that could be something of an all-star in the future. I know I like to use big projections, but I like to project guys out to their ceilings. Whether he reaches there or not is going to be based on the development of the Rockets have for him and himself. That's going to be totally up to him. But I think personally, with his physical attributes and his mentality, this dude is going to be good. But check out my favorite Tari play from the game and how it impacted us getting this dub. For Tari, it's the little things that I look at. Look where he's located right now in the corner. Knicks at the top of the key. They're running a little guard on guard action here. Knicks gets into tries to get into the paint, dribbles and gets feet in the paint. Look where Tari ends up. Just that little action to move up to create space allows Nick a clear path for him to pass the ball to. Then he's able to put the ball on the ground, put a nice move on Tobias Harris. Check this move out. This is a guy that's just slotted as a 3-and-D wing. When he's able to do this, put the ball on the ground and get to the rim and finish, when he adds that mid-range jumper, when he's able to create for his teammates, you're talking about a guy that could be an all-star. Reason number 5, Coach Silas. So this may be Coach Silas's second best game or maybe his best game. I'm going to call this his coming out party, because I was seeing some things on the court with some of the plays that they were running in the flow of the offense that I have never seen throughout this season. They were running secondary actions off of pick and rolls. They were running plays that had other plays entwined into them. And I think Ryan Hollins had pointed out that even on one of the plays that they try to get Jalen to make the overtime shot, that there had secondary actions on that. So to me, that shows that he is adding more to the offense. I think as far as the rotations, he hit it on the head. He was able to use guys when they needed to be used. Obviously, to me, Garrison Mathews played a little bit too long. When he's not shooting well, get him off the court. But otherwise, I mean, great rotations. The fact that he was able to actually place trust into Alperen Sengun in a game where he had 5 fouls, in a game where they were trying to win, and said, you know what, Sengun, I see that you are guarding Embiid the best, and I trust you to go do it, says a lot. That speaks volumes. And it also shows volumes to his coaching eye, because a lot of times he argues in his mind theoreticals, meaning that he assumes things and then makes adjustments based off assumptions rather than what's happening in reality. So I'm going to give him praise for this game for actually going with what was going on the court. And I think him not messing up the lineups is really what secured the victory for us. Philly is a slow team. They're an old team. They're, kind of built badly as a team, is constructed together. But at the end of the day, they still have Joel Embiid and James Harden. They still have PJ Tucker, a world champion. So this game was a game that the Rockets were not supposed to win. But with some good coaching, some heart, some hustle, athleticism, and just dumb youth and not thinking that you can lose to anybody, they were able to pull it out. And I'm going to say that with the effort that they played with all through the overtimes throughout the game, you got to give Coach Silas some kudos. To me, the only reason he would get fired in the middle of the season is if he loses the locker room. And apparently he's not anywhere close to doing that, because these guys, they played their butts off for him. So shout out to the coaching staff for doing that. This has no bearing on the long-term future of them here in Houston. But as far as this season is going along so far, these are the types of games that you want to see. These are the types of victories that you want to see. And even if we lost, these are still the type of experiences you want our players to have, because you can't simulate these experiences anywhere else. You can't practice going against James Harden in the overtime game. You can't practice going against Joel Embiid in the overtime game. You can't practice this. This is gold. These experiences are what you build upon. So when you are ready to be a competitive team on a nightly basis, you have these memories and experiences to draw on. This is what Jalen's going to remember when it's March and they're trying to make a playoff push. All these games that they've played, the back-to-backs, the close game against contenders, these are things that go into their memory banks. These are things that Kevin Porter's going to remember, how he guarded Harden, what his moves are. These are things that Alp's going to remember. Embiid likes to go right. He likes to spin when he goes right. These little things are valuable. Missing those free throws for KPJ, that is a valuable experience. Late in the game, how can I calm my nerves to hit these free throws? You don't learn that when you're getting blown out every game. And to me, you can still thread the needle of tanking for Wemby or doing whatever you wanted. Well, I'm not going to say tanking, but just not being a great team and still be in the lottery. At the same time, valuing games like this. Whether they won or lost, this was a win for them because they got some great experience against great players. And Coach Silas got to coach against a great coach, a world champion coach. And I feel like if they can keep up with this effort, the shots are going to come and go. Every the dribbles, the turnovers are going to be up and down. Players are going to play good and bad. Some guys are going to have great defensive nights. Some are going to have stinkers. But at the end of the day, if the effort is there, and it's been there, if the effort is always there, then they will build upon what they're trying to build upon. And then I can see a path where next season they can say that based on all the things we've done last year, we can build upon this and try to make a push for the play-in or the playoffs. Now, these early victories don't really mean much. So that's why I'm not going to quantify this or qualify this based on wins and losses, because, we went 7 in a row last year and still were one of the worst teams. So I don't put a lot of stock into these like October, November, December wins as it relates to just win totals for the season. I put stock into it as it relates to valuable experience. But as it relates to win totals, whatever. We might win out a bunch of games this month and just then crap out for the rest of the season. It really, to me, the wins, the losses, they matter, but they don't. What matters is the experiences, because you can build upon those. And I just don't feel like in a team, if you're purposely trying to be bad and you're purposely trying to quote unquote tank, you miss some of these experiences. And if you're mad that the Rockets beat James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers in a double overtime game, then man, you're missing out on this Rockets team. But with that said, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Did you like the game? What did you think about the plays? What did you think about the analysis? What was your favorite plays from the game? What were your takeaways? Let me know your 5 takeaways in the comments for this game. I showed you mine. Let me know yours. And as you always know, and you already know where I'm going with this, if you're not subscribed to the channel, like, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you wasting your brain and rotting away, not getting good basketball nourishment from the chop shop where we keep dropping heat?